Come on, whoever's here.
Dang, Brandon.
Here.
Where's here? I know y'all ain't read that book.
Uh, yeah. I mean, this book, the format is a lot different. I mean,
Yeah.
it talks about her research of folk tales and stuff like that, which I appreciate. I love that she did that.
It was a lot of stories within stories as well, like the characters telling stories.
Yeah. And for a
So
second, lost. Like, okay, which character is this saying this story?
I was just vibing with it. I don't know who, I don't know, I don't remember names.
Hmm.
John Henry was in here.
Yeah, like some of the names are similar to the other books that we read so far.
Yeah.
Um,
Images in the book as well.
yeah, I really love the images. It gave you a visual of each story that was told, especially like this one where they're all sitting on the porch, like talking.
I love I did follow the audiobook and then I kept getting lost. So there
Yeah.
must have been like massive chunks.
Oh yeah, like I read the audiobook, then I had to stop because then it skipped a
Like
whole
pages, a
like a
whole like actual pages.
yeah.
So
And I
I
was
do I need to go back and read because I was just like, huh? And then I found where it was again, and then
mhm,
I picked up from there. And so like the first half, I've definitely skipped something. So I
yeah,
need to.
that too. So when it got off track, I'm like, okay, pause. Let me just read it,
Yeah.
see if I can find out where it left off. So there's moments where I was listening to the audio and then the rest, like majority of it, I had to read on my own without the audio. And I found that weird how they don't have that correlate with this particular book. Like how come it's like
And it's weird because maybe there's a different edition and there's like added material. Maybe I don't know.
like I
But
even
I remember it picking up in the middle of a chapter, in the middle of the page, and
right.
I was listening to it in the car, so I missed the section. But then when I stopped, I picked up, I was able to find it, and it was literally like in the middle of the page where it started
Mhm.
again.
Right. And I'm like, okay, we skip this. Let me just pause this and
Mhm.
read this. But it definitely skipped some pages, and I hope they fix that because I was just saying like, okay, maybe this is a different edition. Let me try a different audio from like Scribd or something. It was the same thing. So I don't know if they've caught that or what.
I'm sure they know.
They added like more stuff to this without doing an audio. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I'm not
I
sure.
do know that I need to go back and read some of the stories that I do missed. Because I was like, why is it a 2-hour audio?
Yeah, I was like, wait, this doesn't make sense. The how complete this book is.
Yeah. But I found this book to be one of my favorites so far that I've read. I mean, again, I'm a newbie to Zora, but I found this to be one of my favorites. I love the aspect of that. One, it was just easier to read. I didn't find myself having to reread it twice to just comprehend some of the wording. Uh,
Hmm.
and I didn't. I'm not saying that there's a problem with that. It's just sometimes I do have to read it out loud because of the dialect. Um, and so again, I just really enjoyed the stories within stories, the characters telling stories,
Right.
and that was in other books, but I found it more prominent in this book. Like it definitely was a lot more of
Like
stories.
this is more like them telling stories, and this was it's a book, but it's not like a book with just one prominent
Right?
story. It's
Yeah, no, it's several stories.
so many different stories, so many different experiences. Um, some were slavery,
Mhm.
Massa and all that. But there were times where I was laughing.
Yes.
Some of it, like like the toe party business. That was fun. I had fun.
I um I enjoyed the story where the guy asked God for Ooh, excuse me. The guy asks, what is his name? B. Mosley.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He asks God for more strength, more power, and to be stronger. And then his wife also asked for the same thing. And he used the power to beat the woman. Not saying that that's funny, but
Yeah.
they instead of resolving the issue of beating each other and being violent, she asked for more power, and then takes the keys instead. Takes the keys and then goes to the devil, gives the devil the keys. The devil then tells her how to use the keys, and they're back at square one. And I'm like,
Yeah, because it talks about how women always take advantage of men.
yeah,
Whatever. It's funny, but I see it says now this first big key is to do of the kitchen, and a man always favors his stomach. So
mhm,
women will take advantage of that. I'm like, oh well, we have power.
yeah,
We cook and all this other stuff. We bear the children. I mean, they men want to have sex. I mean, we can just say no.
yeah, exactly. The second one is for the bedroom. Turn that off. You know what I'm second. You know what I'm saying. And then the last key is for decradle, and you don't want to cut off. He doesn't want to be cut off from his generation at all.
Right.
So yeah, cut him off. We have power, and I really enjoyed that aspect of like these are true. I mean, using it as a sense of a metaphor. Not my wording is just off today, but like using it as something different. But we do have keys. We do have power, right? Like I love how she put a twist on that, where it's like physical keys that God gave,
Hmm.
and then yeah.
I was just I had fun time just reading the stories. And then wait, let me see. I think there was another one. I talked oh yeah, how the church split up. That was funny.
Mm-hmm.
Always talking about the Baptists versus the Methodists. And it's crazy because
Which
when I was a kid, I don't remember that like
oh,
first
definitely.
that it's that much. But I was younger. I was raised in the Baptist church, so
I definitely remember the beef. And remember the first book that we read also had beef when it comes to Baptists and Methodists, I
yeah.
believe. The
Hmm.
first horror book we read.
Yeah, I feel like that's going to be prominent as we read all her books.
Mhm.
Going to bring up the Baptist versus the Methodist.
Yeah. She puts so much of herself in these books, and I truly appreciate that aspect. Like even her name being in the stories as well
Yeah,
was really cool.
like I like how she went to her hometown and
Mm,
asked the stories.
yep.
That's a blessing because for her to be able to do that, that was amazing. Because a lot of families don't have that. They don't have stories to go back to from their hometowns where somebody had written every single story down for people to know and to witness. Um, and that just sucks when you think about, as far as the Black community, how our history was taken away from us. We don't really know much about our families or the
At
story
all.
told. Nothing. So it was nice that she was able to do that for her community.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. This book really um for me was just like, I mean, all of her books have been hits, but this one just I enjoyed every aspect of it. I mean, she's still talking about some things that we would consider nowadays controversial, like domestic violence and different things, hexing and just all types of things that we would consider controversial ish. But again, I enjoyed it.
The story about like tell you how come we so black.
That one,
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
and then she said they all jumped up and run up to the house to the one, and they was so scared they must have missed something. They began to push and shove one another, bumping against all the angels and turning over footstools. They even had the one pushed one sided, so God hollered, "Get back, get back!"
Get back. And they thought he said
And thought he said, "Get black,"
black.
and they've been black ever since.
And they've been black ever since. They were like, oh, roll their eyes. Gosh, that was so funny.
I'm like, get black,
Ooh.
get black. I was cracking up. I literally put LOL in anything.
Yeah, I had the urge to write. I don't write in my book, but I had the urge to write in this book.
Yeah,
And I really should have.
I
I really should.
had to.
Yeah. I just and it's one this book was just more again for me it was just easier to read and I the moment I picked it up and I just kept reading, that's when I wasn't in my car, so I listened to audiobook first, and then halfway through I switched to hybrid reading it, and I just really enjoyed this book. There was a story about the devil, said that he could break up a couple every couple,
Mhm,
um, and I found it crazy that this woman who seems like, I don't really know her predicament, but she was like, I will do this for you. I will basically work for the devil, if you give me shoes. And I
mhm,
was like, you don't even have shoes? Why are you in people's business, first of all? What are you doing?
mhm.
Like, come on. And she really does break up this couple. And
Right.
all it took was one person to ruin the relationship. Like, I was just,
Mhm.
well, I literally put a post-it note here and I said, "Urgh." Like, man. God,
Oh, I
he
just.
was like, she told me that you were going to you were going to kill me and cut my throat.
Mhm.
And they loved each other so much. Like,
Yeah.
all for some shoes. I wonder if that's worth it.
Right. I mean, shoes are hard to come by back then.
Shoes are hard to
They
come by.
were very expensive. I mean, shoot. I mean, some shoes
A lot of
today.
people made them though. Like, you know, they had some form of shoe wear.
Mhm. Yeah.
It was I appreciate the God and the devil aspect in the book though. I did.
Mhm. How there's always some there's temptation either way.
Mhm. Absolutely. Completely relatable.
Yeah, and I liked how it says like how long it took her. It took her a year to like get all this information, and like I'm sure she had to like handwrite all of it. Like I
Mhm.
that is a lot of information
This
to because if you think about it, back then there probably were some people in her community that didn't know how to read or write either. So it's like they couldn't write the stories out to her and give them to her. She had to actually write every single word down.
yeah.
Oh man.
Do you remember the story about the mule talking?
Mm-hmm.
That was
I
hilarious.
thought I put a little note on there, but I don't think I did.
Every morning, it's come around Bill. Every morning. 172.
Oh god.
The old mule looked around and says,
Oh yeah.
good morning, it's come round Bill. That mule is talking. I ain't never heard a mule talk before.
I felt like I was there when they were talking. I don't know. Like
Yes.
I never lived in a small town. I don't know if I could really do it, but this made me feel like I was there in that small town, having a good old time, sitting on the porch, and everybody's telling their stories.
It's so homey, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's something about this book and these short stories that really felt like homey. Like, I was there hanging out with y'all. And that is what makes Zora just an amazing author.
Mm-hmm. This is typing it all down. Oh yeah, the typewriter. Yeah, I think that's said in the T part of Millbone. Yeah, that's still a lot to.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's too much to be writing down. I'm sorry.
yeah.
And typing. Either way, it's not as if typing is
And editing probably too.
right. A typewriter back then is probably slower than writing it by hand.
Mhm. I mean, I wouldn't be mad at her if it took longer than a year to get all of this.
Yeah, this was a great book.
Yeah. And then like literally after she like had gathered all the folk tales, she went to discovering hoodoo in New Orleans. New Orleans.
Yeah.
And how
Hoodoo or voodoo as it's pronounced by the whites.
a suppressed religion. Yeah, I mean they did make it seem like it was like terrible, like the worst day ever. You're going to hell if you do it. Yeah. Even though they didn't know what they know nothing about it. They're just making assumptions. And the fact that she brought up like which one was it? Like even for Marie Laveau, how Queen Victoria asked for her help,
I remember that.
and I'm like, huh. But y'all talk down on it and everything,
Until they need it.
right?
Until they need it.
Mm-hmm.
And it to me, I love all things hoodoo. If hoodoo is in a book, I want to read that. Like I have to read it. But it's one of it's one of those things when she's is talking about it and she's talking about Christianity. It like you said, it is looked down upon. It is looked at this devilish religion when it's the same fucking shit to a different aspect. Like you have your things, your rituals that you do, and then hoodoo has it. Like it is. Yeah. Anyways,
Felt
both the stories were interesting.
Yeah, they felt intimidated by it. That's why they wanted everyone to be the same, or they wanted everyone to be Christian, even though when they gave the Bibles to, the their slaves,
Hmm.
out certain portions of the Bible when it talked about rebellion and stuff, they took that out
Yeah. Yeah.
because they were scared that they were going to rebel, whatever. So
It's
everybody should have a choice. I mean, God, like,
it,
why are you pushing your own agenda on somebody? I mean, it's still happening today where they're pushing, you have different people pushing their own agendas on people.
and it's not hateful, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about this at work where if sorry, my supervisor asked if you could have a superpower, what would it be? And hers was like to remove all hate in the world. And it's when it comes to religion, it's so diverse. Like it, it's so drastic and different between it's drastic and different, but then it's all pretty much the same,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like you still have your God or the person you worship, or whether it's your ancestors, whether it's a figure, whether it's a statue, like
Mm-hmm.
they're very similar.
Yeah.
It's not as if hoodoo and voodoo or hoodoo is looked at as this hateful thing, and it's not. Like
Mhm.
it never has been.
Yeah.
Never has been. It is to use resource to help each other, help our ancestors. Like, you know,
Yeah.
that's it.
And I think some people have their own definitions of what's good and what's evil too.
Exactly. And they need
They
to stop.
find it. A lot of people find it differently. And honestly, like I know people say, like, I wish evil never wasn't a thing, but I think there's always a balance.
There is, yeah,
I don't
I
think
agree.
evil will ever
I don't
go.
think evil's bad. I think just the hatred towards people.
Yeah.
There could be evil things happening, but just like don't don't judge, don't hate.
Mhm.
But yes, you are right. I completely agree with you.
I just don't know. That would be nice though. I mean, but if you got rid of evil, I mean, I don't know how the world would end up. I don't know. Everything was good.
Then the whole discussion led into because I have this coworker who's very literal, and he was like, "Oh, so you take away people's free will and autonomy?" Okay, let's not go there. People hate. Let's just say that less hate.
I
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, if you take away all the hate, I mean, people during the time of slavery, they didn't think that was a hateful thing.
Hmm.
Thought it was good because they were taking people away from the devil and their devilish ways and whatnot.
Right.
They think they were doing
Their
good deeds.
savage ways.
Hmm.
Yeah. I completely agree. What defines that?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Harm towards another person?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The Bible was rewritten to push the slave mentality. We have written documentation of this, and these same words are being preached in black churches now. So we're saying, yeah,
Yep.
I'm not very religious at all, just because you see the going ons in a black church, and it's terrible. It's not.
It's contradictory of if you do believe in history and what our ancestors believed in them,
Mm-hmm.
it is contradictory of that.
Right.
And I I'm not a very religious person at all. Like there's a God somewhere, but I believe in my ancestors more.
I believe there's a higher power.
There's a higher power. That's a good way
I
to.
can't put a name on it. I can't say there's a higher power above me that puts everything in balance. But us as humans, we're fucking the balance up.
Right. Facts.
um, and I feel like the division within different religions is just I don't like that. And that was another thing they pushed that agenda, making it seem like every religion it wasn't right and it was
Yeah.
bad. There was only one right religion or whatever and belief, and that's Christianity. You know,
Hmm.
so in different languages, it still means God,
It still means God.
Jehovah
I like
Jireh.
that. I like the higher power wording. I completely concur.
Yeah, no. My mother, on the other hand, she wouldn't agree. She'll say God, but I feel like well, God is a higher power that be.
Hmm.
So I don't know.
The
I'm
higher
just
power.
glad that
There's a power somewhere. There's power higher than me. Shit.
right, right.
Even if it's just the law of attraction and gravity, there's something out there. Okay.
And for Zora to, seek out Marie Laveau or one of her living relatives, that was brave.
Hmm.
How she wanted to do more like studying about it and being involved with it,
Hmm.
even though she did mention there was some stuff she couldn't say in the book because that's some stuff that's secret. But I
Yeah.
like,
Did she reach out to her Marie Laveau's nephew?
yeah, um, uh, was it Jethro? What's his name? No, he was talking about not Jethro. They were talking about the biblical, the story of Moses and Jethro, and how
Mhm.
he was he was a spiritual man. He was a great hoodoo man. In the Bible, it doesn't say anything about him doing hoodoo at all.
At all.
But here it says it like explains he was, and that's how Moses was able to talk to the snake and was able to have all these different powers or whatever. Um, so it's funny how they rewritten the Bible and all that and took that portion out and made it into something else. It mentions like the Queen of Sheba and all that too. It's just I wish
Yeah.
people do
Not
their
at
research.
all.
People are so gullible. They feel like, oh, the Bible, everything in the Bible is accurate. I'm like, there's some stuff they took out and replaced things.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely want to do more research on hoodoo because, like, I didn't know much about Jethro, in his background. Um,
Yeah.
but I found that interesting.
I don't know much about him either.
Yeah, it was on page 184. It says Jethro was a great hoodoo man. Jethro could tell Moses could carry power as soon as he saw him. In fact, he felt him coming. Therefore, he took Moses and crowned him and taught him. So Moses passed on beyond Jethro with his rod. He lifted it up and tore a nation out of Pharaoh's side, and Pharaoh couldn't help himself. But
Never
uh,
seen him.
it says Moses talked with a snake that lives in a hole right under God's footrest.
Mhm.
Moses had fire in his head and a cloud in his mouth. The snake had told him God's making words, the words of doing and the words of obedience. Many a man think he is making something when he's only changing things around, but God let Moses make, and then Moses had so much power, he made the eight-winged angels split open a mountain to bury him in and shut up the hole behind them. That's interesting.
No more proof that people were black back then.
Yeah, that whole thing of the paintings of Jesus, of God being white. Yeah.
Moses was black.
Yeah.
Jesus was black. The snake was black.
There was. There's a whole thing with that, along with just that about, with I think I don't know if anybody's seen it, but the controversy of the movie that they're doing for Cleopatra. And a lot of people in Egypt are really upset because they said she's not black.
It's Cleopatra. She's always been black.
They said Egyptians and people from different countries they're not black. So they felt like with her, as an actor being black, they're upset because Cleopatra is not black.
When that happened?
Yeah, it's been on the news and stuff.
No, when did people decide that she wasn't black? I've always been told she was black.
That's what I like when I did my research in college. But I mean, like I looked up Cleopatra and her lineage. So like if I look it up,
what is she, Asian? What is that?
Let's see.
Lord have mercy.
Because they said, crap. Hold on. Let's see. It's all over.
We just got here. I haven't eaten today. It's 1:30.
Go ahead and eat.
They're saying she's Greek. Greek of what? Girl, get out of here.
Yes,
not you.
What they're saying, Lacey's. That I'm confused with that. So I was looking on like just doing research. Let's see. Because I think her father, or trying to see. Of course, they said that as the last true pharaoh of Egypt, Cleopatra married two of her own brothers, so there was incest. But
yeah, that was very common.
Yeah. Cleopatra's father and mother both were children of the same father, one by a wife, one by a concubine.
Still black.
Yeah.
I am a firm believer that everybody back then was black. Okay, where the ashiness come from? Like I don't know.
That's a huge debate right now. I have to admit, I've not done much research on her. Yeah, I was like, I did some research, but now I was like, I feel like with her family tree, it's all over the place. Like, okay, so she was born from, with incest or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I feel like with her complexions, it could be different. She could be darker complected based off of, it could happen from a different strand of generation from her family tree, like she could end up having these darker complexions because of something that one of her family members looked like back then. Like, I feel like they need to dig deeper, not just beyond, just like beyond her mother and father. Mm-hmm. Like what was their parents look like? What was their grandparents look like?
I thought all of them were black, like the king and the prince and all those statues. I just assumed. I swear I talked about it in class though, in middle school.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
They weren't white.
No, they weren't white.
They were not white. Let's just say that.
I'm pissed that the girl that's playing Cleopatra is black.
And she should be. I don't know. I don't see why she was of color. She was BIPOC. She was BIPOC of something.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a huge
just like the freaking mermaid. Come on, like why can't they be black?
They want it to be accurate. And I'm like, I feel like I don't know. I'm interested to find out now because I'm like, I need to know. I was always taught that she was, black. She was dark complected.
Yeah.
based off of from her like her family, like
Mm-hmm.
so I don't know.
I saw something on Discovery. That's what it was. It was on Disney, and they were talking about Egypt, and Cleopatra was mentioned. If you guys have not watched on Disney Plus, like um, uh, those movies where they go around the world and discuss things, but they were talking about the pyramids. And they were talking about the structure of her nose and whatnot, and that's where I got the idea of like potentially her being black, but.
Mhm.
Um, she's of color. What color? What background? She is of color.
Right.
Let's
I'm like,
find
do
out
people
if we have homework.
really
Yeah, definitely.
like
Let's
do
look into
people
it, guys. 'Cause that's a good point. Like, I get the accuracy too, of wanting it to be accurate.
I don't know. Let's find out, Brandy. We have homework. Yeah, we have homework because I'm curious. Like
Hmm.
like I believe that she has some type of black. Like she's black. There's something.
What
I
was her
don't.
parents then?
Her parents, they were Egyptian. Like her father. Um,
People in Egypt are black. I mean, now they're towards more Arabic and whatnot, but like they are of color.
yeah, like literally, it says like her father was an illegitimate son by an uncertain mother. So if he had an uncertain mother, like how can you say she wasn't black?
Yeah,
We
exactly.
don't know even like
That
her
man was
father.
African. What? You
Like
are in the continent of Africa. Like, come on.
if it's uncertain, then she probably was dark complected just based
Hmm.
on her father's mother that nobody knows
Absolutely.
of. you know,
Absolutely. Not in the continent of Africa. Like, come on. Stop it.
so I don't know now. Like I know they have like I don't know.
Does she end up having kids?
Yeah, I think she did. Let me go back. I believe so.
Let's definitely find out. Let's
Mm,
look, come together next week.
yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll have a whole discussion. Hey, is
Hmm.
Patra black? What y'all think?
I'm going to go back and look at the documentary as well.
Because I
Because
mean,
it was on Disney Plus.
because like even if it wasn't Cleopatra, think of Nefertiti. She was black.
He was black. Now, try to dispute that. I want somebody to dispute that.
Yeah. So it's like it's all over the news. People are having this huge debate. And I'm like, my God, like,
Complain about something else.
yeah. But
Did they want her to be like Arabic with a I don't know. What do they want? Because she wasn't.
even if that's true, there were black people in Greece too, if she's Greek. There were black people in Greece
Coming from.
from from her father's side, I believe. But then again, we don't know nothing about his mom. So it's like I don't know. I don't know. We gotta do research, y'all. So next time when we have reading sprints or something.
And the mother and the father were brother and sister, right?
Yeah.
So they were half sisters and brothers.
Yeah. Because one was born by the same father, but they had different mother.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. So right now, yeah, Netflix is supposed to do a movie about Cleopatra, and right now people are are outraged by it because it's not accurate. But they have white actors in there that shouldn't be in there.
Mm-hmm. No,
So like y'all are so gung ho on Cleopatra, like y'all are
they
ignoring.
want her to be a white Greek person, and that's not the fucking case.
Like there's other actors in there that are white, but acting
Even like
Egyptian.
the Mummy, where they bring up Cleopatra in the movies. She wasn't black or she wasn't white.
Mm-mm.
Argue about something else, okay?
Yeah.
Argue about something. Argue about the debt ceiling. Okay. Argue about healthcare.
So now I think
Property.
Netflix I don't even know if the movie is going to be. Are they going to push it out or they're going to wait? I mean, they already filmed it, so it's like I don't know. I don't know. But I'm glad like she like in this book she mentions like Queen of Sheba and stuff. That was nice and Solomon. It just makes me want to also research other works, not necessarily the Bible because it's not accurate and shit is missing or it's been repurposed and redone and words been changed around. Like sometimes I feel like maybe I need to go to a different country to get the exact type of actual document before it was altered. But I have a feeling probably the Vatican has it, and they probably in the basement, and they don't want people.
In the basement, airtight seal, um, no lint allowed.
Like they have the original
Bodysuits.
right. So
Absolutely.
they don't want people to know about hoodoo.
They don't, and I mean, like you said, and it's interesting how far back what we know how it was a valid form of religion for our ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting to see how people higher ups, right, like the queen and people actually used it. And I want to know how many people in the Bible, you know, kind of
Had that.
those same techniques. So
Yeah, I would want to know too. You know, I didn't know about Jethro and Moses, so it's like I really want to know more about other characters. You know, you have Joseph, who did all these miracles in Egypt, and I'm wondering, was it hoodoo? I mean, because he was so honed into the like the earth and all that and their crops and stuff, and if they didn't do, you know, he had visions, he had dreams or whatever,
right,
and how he knew that if they didn't do this their crops would die, their cows would die and all this stuff.
those rituals.
Yeah, sometimes I think
Even
about,
putting like crosses on the outside of their doors and stuff like that. Like that's all hoodoo shit.
or think of like Harriet Tubman and how she was getting these visions on where to go.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think about that too. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
I I I really love all things hoodoo when they write in it, but this was a lot more informative. Um, we have the fictional story, but then we had the information, and I just I ate this book up. It's
Right.
definitely a book that I could reread for sure.
Right. Like I was expecting her like even talking about hoodoo in this book until I got to that specific section of the book.
Yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed it.
Like, yeah, like I'm glad it talks about customs, superstition, and beliefs and stuff.
Mhm.
And I felt like,
All things Christians believe in as well, like
yeah,
all comes from.
yeah, like I feel like people should be wanting to search for truth and not be so gullible into like, oh, this must be true because they wrote it. No, and I think that's why a lot of people are so complacent with just going with what they, you know, with what people tell them and what, the government tells them. And not just do their own research. Like think for yourself.
Yeah. And when you're finding out answers to those questions, it should lead to more questions to go find
Right.
answers. And you will definitely get to hoodoo practices for
Right.
sure.
Right. And sometimes I feel like in my family, like I wonder if they practice it, but they probably won't tell me. Like I know like one of my family members, she did, but I haven't seen her for over so many years. And a lot of my family like kicked her out of the family because she did hoodoo. Um,
Hmm.
I heard stories that she didn't want one of my uncles to be married to a woman or whatever, and they were sleeping in the bedroom. So she put something under their bed. It was like a symbol, and the woman kept getting sick. And they didn't know that there was a symbol under the bed until like later on. And so literally since then, like I've never heard from her, not seen her or nothing. She just disappeared.
Yeah. I've definitely integrated hoodoo practices in a low level, you know, in my life. There are symbols that you could put outside your home and things that you could do for protection, and I have done that.
Mm-hmm.
But I just, again, it was so informational, and then we jump into the actual story that has root and conjure doctors and
Mm-hmm.
dancing and stuff like that. Um,
Right.
but Zora is she's the goat.
Right.
She's a fucking goat.
I was also impressed with Marie Laveau's like nephew or whatever, and he knew when he was going to die. Like he knew like I have a year or whatever left.
I wonder if she still has I'm sure she has family and whatnot. And I've been to Marie Laveau's store and home. There you can't go into it, but I've been in outside of the home, outside of the gravesite, and then she has a store, a small store.
Mm-hmm.
She sells items, and I've been there. I'm sure she has family members running it, but I'm interested to see her lineage as well, to see if there's still people out there.
Right.
So, she did a lot for the community.
Mm-hmm. Like even with Zora, she's being called the rain bringer. So the great one was to speak to me in storms, she said. So like, that's how she'd be spoken. So I'm guessing in Hoodoo, I get every single person is spoken to in a different way.
Yeah. You have to be so self-aware to even be able to recognize something like that, like a storm.
Mm-hmm.
How often did they happen? How do you like? And that kind of don't judge me. You said storms and talking to in storms, and I was like the high storms. Like I was thinking, Mistborn, and then I also thought about the final strife, and it was like that, like the storms, because that there's a person in the storm anyway.
Yeah.
But
so I'm guessing in like a rainstorm because it talks about lightning symbol or whatever. And that makes me think of Harriet Tubman. She was spoken through visions of her passing out.
Yeah.
I wonder like if I did research on this, will I end up have some type of awareness of I am having visions, but don't really know it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It has to be some sense of like self-awareness to be able to even recognize that it's happening at that moment.
Yeah, like I know Keandre will think I'm crazy. I would love to go to New Orleans and like talk to someone about it. I'm open to learning things because it's here for a reason. Hoodoo is here. It's lit. It's people are still doing it. Secretly.
Actual practice, yeah.
Yeah, for a reason. I don't know. Hoodoo is based on your ancestors and which helpers you seek out. It is passed down from one person to another. So I really want to think of. I really would.
Yeah. I don't pray to the higher being. I definitely reach out to my ancestors, and I have a little altar and everything for my ancestors. I don't know. The thing is, I don't know who my ancestors are. They out there. They know me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know them yet. So,
I don't have an altar. Like I don't know much about it. So I know you mentioned something about altar in here too, but I don't know much about it. So it's like I don't want to dab into something and do something without me knowing what I'm doing.
Do the research.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I might look into it.
Yeah.
And have some type of belonging or sense of me knowing who I am as a person. I might not be able to know my ancestors, but country.
They definitely got our back, so.
Yeah, so it's like I would love to know. They know you.
Oh yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, for sure. I don't know them, but they know me because they be coming through. Okay, I got some ancestor money. I be burning it and got my little candles for them, and I have my little water and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But they
I
be
just
coming through sometimes.
I just can't imagine
All
like everybody would hone in to something like that. How people we would all be okay if we
mm-hmm.
listen to our ancestors and help us guide us into the right direction. Maybe they're really telling us, they're showing us how the world is now, and especially for the Black community, maybe we should be leaving. Maybe we should be leaving this country because it's killing
Yeah.
us. It's
Maybe we should reconnect with our ancestors and listen.
yeah, maybe
Maybe
they
that's,
guide us to where we need to go. But
yeah, like physically go, like help me
mhm,
out, and I'm ready to dip.
right. Trust they've had your back, and you know when they've turned their back. Yeah, yeah.
Trust they've had your back. You know what? And this is a good, not to. I mean, I know we're talking about Zora, but this comment. Um, if you have not read, what is the second book to, or Blood Marked by
Mhm,
Tracy Young. I love the book, and I love how fast paced it is. You're on a real actual journey throughout the book.
mhm,
But she is there's a point where she is doing something because she's putting herself first. And I don't want to give away the plot, but it's disrespectful to the ancestors.
mhm,
And even though her ancestors, we all read Legend Born, her ancestors created this generational curse.
mhm.
Like, sis, like, you didn't have to do all that. Like, and I really felt hurt, like, for her ancestors, as if this was a real person, because you have to read the book. Y'all gotta read the book.
Have to read it. The only thing I'll say this is that I feel like people, since people aren't aware of like ancestors, they were drilled in their heads about God, God, God. I think people don't know that they're turning their backs on their ancestors
Yes.
intentionally.
Yeah, and that was done, and it was hurtful, and it was disrespectful. And again, I understand the curse. I understand, like, okay, this is what you felt the need to do, but these are your freaking ancestors. So in the third book, there better be something that
Yeah.
reconnects them, because I'm telling you right now, like, I will burn those books. I don't have special editions, so like they can go, because
Whole person the regular.
like, don't do that. Your ancestors have your back. Like,
Yeah. But people don't some people don't believe in ancestors yet. I think that's why they're not people aren't aware yet. And
yeah,
people need to do their own research about the Bible and how it was manipulated only for us to read it a certain way. And I don't know.
yeah,
People aren't aware. People want to
yeah.
stay in their bubble. People aren't open minded to new things and to do research. And you don't have to accept it, but just do some research about it.
And hoodoo is very much a black centric, born from black people, right? Like, that is hoodoo. Here in Texas, I see more people that are white practicing hoodoo.
Mm,
And not saying that it is per color. Um, like, the hoodoo products that I have in my house are made from a white woman.
mhm,
Her thing is, she has ancestors. This is her thing. She was like, we all were, our ancestors were started off black. There's black somewhere in my lineage.
mhm.
Um, she makes great products though. She makes great products. And I was like, yeah. But yeah, I see a lot of white people doing hoodoo as well,
Mhm.
which is why, like, but Moses is still black. I in my mind, they were all black. Mm-mm. You came from the motherland. Come on.
They were all black until you had the Romans and the Greeks come into play, and they were having sex with everybody, and that's
No,
why.
they were all black until they moved to different parts of the earth, and then there wasn't enough sunlight, like in Africa, and so their skin just got lighter and lighter and lighter, and their melanin decreased. That's what happened.
No, you had like
It was no Romans. Everybody was from Africa, and they moved to different parts of the earth.
everybody come up in there.
And they for real, they moved to different parts of the earth, and based off that atmosphere, right? It's not as sunny in Germany as it is in Africa.
Yeah.
They just got lighter. Really pale in the winter, but I get really dark in the summer. You
Yeah.
know, it be like that, and that's what happened. They left Africa and was like, I'm getting lighter. Had little sea demons, and then the sea demons were just getting lighter and lighter.
I wish that was the case. You had the
That
Greek.
is the case. Everybody came from Africa.
Maybe.
Everybody from Africa.
But then you had Greeks and Romans.
They moved from Africa. We're talking about the beginning of time.
They probably did, but then they forgot about it. And never
At
claimed
the
it.
beginning of time, they were here and they moved to different parts of the earth
Everybody has some type of
and became Greeks. How they eventually became Greeks. They eventually became Romans.
yeah, but they won't claim that. They claim that they are strictly white with no type of black ancestry whatsoever. It's my hey Jira. I hope you're doing better than yesterday.
Yeah, I hope you're doing really well, Jura.
This might be my favorite Zora book so far.
Exactly, same,
It makes you think.
same.
I like books that make you think outside of your own self. Like
It was funny. It was informative. It was a good time.
mm-hmm. The white folks genetic without light or nor to observe. Yeah, vitamin D in less sunny places. Brie has my
Exactly. Everybody originated from Africa and they moved to different parts of the earth and absorbed less vitamin D,
yeah.
less melanin.
Yeah, they came back to Africa and just destroyed people's shit.
Yeah, and then they came back to, I mean, that was centuries later,
Mhm.
but yes, they eventually, then they became the Romans, the Greeks, the Chinese, the Japanese, the Russians. They
Mhm.
eventually became them. When you have, especially like a country like Russia, right? It is not as sunny. It's definitely snows half of the year, and
Yeah.
but they were there. They were there,
It
and they
makes you think of the story of Noah and the Ark and the Great Flood. I wonder how that hoodoo comes into play with that
he was hearing shit.
and all the
He was able to communicate with the animals to a certain extent.
yeah.
Come on, he knew that's all hoodoo shit.
I
He
just
said,
want
"Thank yourself."
to read the original stories of all the stories that I was taught in church. Because I feel like if people wanted the original stories, their minds would be blown.
Probably, definitely.
Oh man. Oldest bones discovered were in Africa. I believe it's called primate Jane. Yeah.
And Primate Jane was black as fuck. And Jane had some spawns, and her spawns and their spawns went off to different parts of the world
Yeah.
and lost their color. Okay, and then they became ignorant.
And they wanted to have slaves and all this other stuff. And they discovered shit when they didn't discover nothing.
Didn't discover a goddamn thing.
So,
How you discover something that somebody already discovered? What kind of shit is that?
or like even with America, people are already here.
You can't discover something that was already here. People are actively living.
Here. Ugh, man. And then had the audacity to call them Indians.
Yeah, I wish we would get away from that word,
That is indigenous.
indigenous.
I don't know why people say that. Some I had to correct
French.
because of that. I'm like, no, it's indigenous. I'm like, you're around books all day and you don't know the correct. Damn it!
Oh, they were so beautiful. Like I follow so many accounts of just authors and designers, and I'm like, y'all are fucking dope, and y'all been dope. Y'all been dope before my ancestors got here, and oh god, they're amazing.
Yeah,
They're amazing.
it makes me wonder, like, if Zora stayed with Marie Laveau's nephew, and took over and stuff. I wonder if she regretted that decision.
We have a lot of questions and we need answers. So
But he asked for her to stay with him to the end. It has been a great sorrow to me that I could not say yes. And I'm like, well, how come you couldn't say yes?
exactly.
And I wonder if she regretted that decision.
I mean, and she didn't even explain why.
Mm-mm. Like you could still be a writer and stuff. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
That that knowledge, that knowledge is just
Have you go in a rabbit hole?
priceless. I would have stayed.
Yeah.
Zora, facts.
Yeah.
She was rolling with whatchamacallit. What's the guy's
I mean,
name?
she couldn't help it. I mean, like the other book that we read, the previous month, her dad and mom, they were always moving around.
She was a rolling stone. I'm telling you. We already know about the drama. How you have 30 pages about the beef with Langston? 30 page? Come on. We know you out there opening your legs and opening your twat for people.
Yeah, that was the trauma she went through. I think that's why she reacted the way.
Well, she reacted with her legs wide open, twat out in the air. Come on, just
Went.
broken.
Hence why the keys. Don't be giving him the keys.
Don't give them the keys, Zora. Stop.
Oh man.
It's messing with your money, Zora. She should have learned that.
Yeah. I don't know. It makes me want to go to my family in Georgia and see if anybody has any stories that are written down from our ancestors and stuff like that.
Yeah, I would love to do. I probably need I definitely need the subscription, but I found out last year, the end of last year, that my family is from Louisiana. My black side of my family is from Louisiana, um, and so I didn't know that because I tried looking up my ancestry tree. I couldn't find anything.
Mm-hmm.
But my grandmother changed her name after hitting a white man in Louisiana and ran to California, and so. Now I know. Now I need to go back and look, but yeah, it's either way, it's interesting of like how far back our magic really goes.
Yeah.
Not just the hoodoo, like the just well, yes, hoodoo, but um, we're talking about biblical days with Moses. We're talking about, you know, our ancestors before they were slaves. That I swear, and all of those kings and queens and Cleopatra, all of them were all black. I think so. But that's me. I don't know.
So too. I think even because they didn't know their father's mother or their father's mother's mother. I mean, I'm certain they probably were, and I just want people to do their research. I know people in Egypt are pissed about the representation, but I feel like
That's
I don't know.
today's
It was on the news. You had a guy who's from Cairo who was on there, and then you had um, a black man who's from here, and he was talking about it, and they were just completely just going back and forth and was fighting against each other. I'm like, oh my god!
today's representation of what that would look like today is not who Cleopatra was. I mean, and that would be my. I mean, I would think people have evolved, color has changed, and it has expanded. Who she was back then is not the same representation that would happen today.
Long she ain't white.
As long as she's not white, who gives a
In Egypt, they're pissed because it's not accurate. They feel like she was lighter complected. But even if that was the case, she was still black, in my opinion.
in my
I
opinion?
have
We're emphasizing the opinion part. So
I have to
nobody
do,
comes for us.
I have to do research. I cannot put a definite on it, but
Yeah.
that's what I'm going to assume because even you said so yourself, everybody was from Africa originally.
Everybody. And they mamas.
But
Big boom. Okay. Dinosaur age.
there's people that say just because some people are from Africa doesn't mean that they were. Some people say they're not African because of the different countries. So they say Egyptian and all the other stuff too.
It's
So
like people arguing about the Bible saying that Jesus was white, with blue eyes, even though he clearly had wool hair. Who else had wool hair?
yeah,
Egyptians today? No, they don't have wool hair. No,
the
we have wool.
people that said that God was a woman.
You know what? I have a book.
There's a
That's
lot of people that says that too.
you know what? Is that a Zora book? Let me find out. I have oh no, it's not. It's Christina.
Oh, that one, that book,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's Black
Mhm.
woman. I do have a Zora book though. I swear that is not on our TBR list. No idea where's that. I think I gave it to my sister. But either Zora is um just phenomenal. I'm falling in love with her more and more. I
Right.
will say that.
Her
Um,
writing is definitely like, I get every time I just get mad when people say they don't understand her writing. They feel like her writing is gibberish. I feel like that's a slap not only to her face but to just our like just in general. I'm like,
don't do that.
take
Just
time
there it
to
goes.
actually try to read it. You know,
Don't know us Negroes.
mm,
You have this one?
not have that one. I need to get it though.
It's a beautiful cover. Um, but I'm not Zora. It's a slap in the face because that is that is how they spoke. That is how people still speak.
Yeah,
Not saying that I when I listen to it, I understand it 1,000%. When I have to read it, yes, I might have to read it twice. But
right.
once I read it, if I have to read it twice, and I definitely get it.
Yeah, but we don't talk like that. That's the only thing. Like, but I
That's
still have family
yeah,
that
yeah,
talks like this, and I'm like, I understand what they're saying.
yeah. I understand what they're saying. It is more difficult to read it, but
Hmm.
it is not doable.
Right, you can
Definitely,
comprehend it.
you 1,000% can comprehend it.
Mm-mm. I cracked up at all the slang. My favorite was Big Sweet told the card dealer that he would fill him full of looky deer if he mess with his cards. And not on your head so big so when you go down the street, everybody will point at it and say, "Looky there." Oh yeah, all
There
the
was a lot of humor in this book, and I really enjoyed it.
I liked it. It made me laugh. It makes me want to go into my own family. Like, do we have stories like this? Like, what dances did we do?
You should. Those are stories that you're gonna wanna pass down to the kiddos.
That's if somebody's that oh back then had documented all this stuff, and I don't know if it was or not. Zora was privileged, like she was able to. She was privileged. She had her Chevrolet and she drove to her
Yes,
town. I mean,
we
that was
can.
that, that was an honor. I feel like for her to be able to even do that and to get all these stories and talk about all that and talk about her, her moments of trying to study hoodoo and all this stuff and
Yeah.
being aware.
Which I mean, it's it's an intentional act, and I think that previous generations were not intentional about, and rightfully so. They were dealing with a lot, but they
Yeah.
were not intentionally passing down information.
Mhm.
Zora went seeking the information, right? And I have nothing to tell you if I don't go looking for it because people are not intentionally telling them.
That's the thing. People are lazy. They want everything just to be given to them rather than try. Like, if you really want to learn something, take the effort to do some research about it. Don't just say, like, oh, well, they said this, so I'm going to take their word for it. I just think people definitely, if you really want to learn the truth about something, and if you really want to be involved with something or know something, you will do it because you really want to know. Um, but I don't know. Some people are just, they're just, yeah. Like the Bible, I don't accept it.
I agree.
No, it's not. It's not all there, and it was altered. So another one, my race, but not my taste. So many other superstitions that my parents believed, like thinking a dog/cat will steal the baby's breath while it sleeps. Yeah, makes me think about their stories and how they came up with them.
Mm-hmm.
Found that interesting. I found that our people went through a lot, and in going through so much pain, they've stopped talking about it and don't share.
Exactly.
That too.
And it's hurtful. It's hurtful.
Yeah, I'm finishing this book now. Yeah, this book, it had me laughing. Like Keanu was like, "What are you laughing at?" And I'm like, "Never mind." Oh man, it's a good book. I enjoyed it. I think I gave it a 4 to 5 stars. I didn't give it a full five. Um, just because I don't know. It's just I felt like something like she left questions.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like that.
Like
Like
that's retaliation.
like you talk about all this stuff in detail, but you don't say shit.
Yeah,
You leave me hanging.
it's for her and her family.
Yeah, I know. And it's like, come on, you're already sharing this much.
I know.
Going. I asked my grandmother in spurts. The grandmother I introduced to you guys refused to speak on anything happy or sad during the period right after my grandfather passed.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, that is a lot of pain that like try to talk and discuss.
Write it down. Write it down. Something.
Sometimes writing it down can be some type of therapy.
Yeah. Leave something. Leave something.
But that's if you're wanting to do it, you know.
Yeah. If you can handle it.
Yeah.
You know. But I mean, this book for me, like I said, I definitely could see myself rereading it for sure. I enjoyed it a lot.
Right.
I really enjoyed those those silly stories that the characters were saying. So
Right. And it makes me think like the culture we have today. Like we have created our own dances, and we still create our own vernacular still to this day. And I'm glad we're still doing it.
yeah, that's something that was passed down. You know.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad we're still doing that as well.
I just wish there was some things where we had only to ourselves.
We ain't got hoodoo no more.
I know. I'm just saying, like it's we're like sometimes I feel like it's our shit. Like don't take our shit.
Don't take our shit.
Like and that's one thing I wish
alone.
That like yes, we share this stuff, okay, but there's some stuff that is our own.
Yep.
And I feel like back then they've taken so much of our stuff. It's like when are we gonna like have enough and be like, okay, that's no, you don't have any claim to this
at all.
Trying. Don't alter it. Don't change it up for you. You know, like
yeah. I wish AAVE was that thing because it irks me.
Look at it as like it's like a phase, like it's a norm for them to do that. And I'm like, it's not for you. People do it anyway. I'm like, whatever. Nothing will be ours. I at this point, I just think about it. Nothing will be. We'll never have anything to ourselves. It's not going to happen. That's why Zora would just listen in a lot. People let stuff slip when they think no one is listening. Yeah. I would have my mother tell me stories all the time. I kept saying I was going to record them, but I never did. Now it's too late. I'll never get the stories with the clam chowder recipe.
Or her clam chowder recipe.
Oh man, clam chowder.
So good.
Yeah, I have to agree. I share sparingly. Yeah. I'm like some stuff we did. I'm like, man. But I think we're also kind where we do want to share. And I think that's, as a black, especially, as a whole, we still want people to, I feel like, to love us. And maybe that's why we're always willing to share certain things, but then we get slapped in the face after we shared it. And I feel like we need to realize, like, how long are we gonna take this?
Yeah.
We give and give and give, and all they do is take and take and take, and then still person.
You say it all the time that, something's going to happen. Some type of civil war.
I just don't know if it's gonna be in our lifetime.
It might not be in our lifetime, but baby, I want to be up there.
I mean, if I was more aware, like, that's why I really want to, like, study about hoodoo, because I feel like when I'm self-aware, maybe I will start sensing things. Maybe I will start, because I feel like we do see it.
We
like,
do.
going on with the government and stuff like that, but we aren't aware of it, like the signs of what things are going.
Not even just the politics of it, just in general.
Like,
don't do this, don't do that. That's not a good choice. Don't, like all of those things. I remember, like, this is a perfect example. You know how you just get that feeling that, and you're like, this ain't right.
Mm-hmm.
I remember sitting with that, and I closed my eyes. I was sitting in my car. I was like, do I go in? And I just got nauseous.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, nope, I'm going home. Like, just being self-aware of, like, everyday decisions.
Mm-hmm.
When it came to, like you said, Harriet Tubman, and she would pass out. Like, she was open to receiving those messages.
Mm-hmm.
She was asking for it. And so the right, the wrong, just everyday messages, like that connection. I really hope that people reconnect with their ancestors this year.
Right.
I do something for my ancestors every day. Like, even if it's something small, even if it's just a glass of water, but those are things that, you can partake in and do all of that. And you remember in the Good House, they had the altar in the hidden
Yeah.
door.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's pieces of hoodoo in so many of our books, not of course Zora, but like even till today, people and authors are still writing about them.
Yeah.
Tracy Dion, the ancestor realm, is still writing about them. Trying to think of another one that had hoodoo.
People don't like her book just because of that one aspect of it.
Yeah.
Of her going to school and she's only Black kid. But like I've been saying, I think she's done that purposely because there are spaces like that on a regular basis.
Yeah. I really wish I really enjoyed Legendborn. Like, I loved it. But I really wish she was more accepting of her ancestors.
Yeah.
Just understanding. Like, you get more of the history in Bloodmark. Y'all read Bloodmark so we could talk about it. I kind of want to go back and like annotate and do some, all of that. But yeah, there's a lot of books that have hoodoo nowadays, and just like I'm happy to see it. I'm happy that it's being discussed in literature, but like that reconnection has to be intentional.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys already discussed this, but I'm jealous that I will never be able to enjoy the self-contained and thriving Edenville. Yeah. We already know it's gone. We already know. Can you imagine if we had that type of stuff? We had our own land, like as a Black community. We had our own spaces.
Didn't they have that in Oklahoma?
Separate, And I feel like it makes me think of Lovecraft Country because they canceled it before there was a second season, because in the second season, it shows of how us as a Black community, we have our own piece of land in the U.S. Indigenous people have their own piece of land, and then you have the white folks, they have one small area.
That makes my soul happy.
But then they canceled it though, because I think it's just because of that. They don't want people to have that type of mentality saying, oh, we can take over this amount of land. We should be able to have this land. We won't mess with y'all. Y'all don't mess with us. This is our shit. That's y'all shit. So I can't imagine if that was
Who's gonna thrive better? Who's gonna fucking thrive better?
right.
Mm.
That makes you think. Like,
Who's gonna fucking thrive better?
They wouldn't.
Shit. Look, we'll even give you DC. You can have the Capitol and the White House. You can have that shit. Give us the Midwest and Southern states, and then you can have that small section over there. Okay.
Yeah. The small section of land that you didn't steal from indigenous people.
Exactly. Like Illinois going down, that could be us.
Yeah.
All the way over to Texas. Don't touch New Mexico and Oklahoma. But you know what I'm saying? Like that's indigenous.
I'm not saying that the races shouldn't mix. Yeah, and I'm not saying I'm just saying if we had our own thing.
If we had our own thing, you want to go mix over there?
Like Wall Street.
I'm just kidding.
Own thing. Like we all work together as a whole, as a community. Man, I just want to go somewhere I'm safe. Yeah, and right now it seems like there is. I honestly can't say if there is a safe space or not. It's just we are just vulnerable, and I think we're going to remain vulnerable until something big happens. Which like Bree brought up, I've been saying this forever. Like there's gonna be a war on U.S. soil. I just don't know when that is or if it's gonna be in our lifetime. I would for us to have our own land and just do our own thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you want, like, it is perfectly fine to mix.
That is fine.
But if we had a safe space, like maybe mixes can be like in Ohio. And then we'll take everything else. You know what I'm saying? Just go over there where it snows. Over there on the east side, close to the
have our own stuff without y'all burning it down, without y'all raising rates or whatever, or mortgages or whatever, or leases for that specific building to get rid of Black businesses. Leave us alone. Like we ain't messing with y'all shit. Like leave us. Let us have our own shit. And they don't want us to have it. Like just with how we talk, our dances, the songs that we've created, they take all that away.
We would create just for us. We would have the Black TikTok version. We would thrive so fucking much.
I mean, we got all.
We deserve it. Fucking reparations. Give us our own states.
Yeah, we have the actors and actresses. We have our engineers. We have all our tech people. Like we would be fine. It's just we need to come together, and then we needed to decide on. We need to take a stand.
That would be so great.
Yeah, it's just
that would be so great.
People willing to put in the work. That's the only thing.
Not even just putting in the work. People are so uncomfortable with change.
That too.
People are so uncomfortable with change. I'm not comfortable with moving because my children's school, or I've lived in this house for 4 years, or this, that, and the third. Then okay, what do you plan on doing? Right? Like, what's the end game here? So you perfectly fine with doing whatever, I don't know. But yeah. Anyway. That's just my opinion.
But just having this discussion all about because of Zora, it makes you think like, and for people to refuse to even try to read her books, just imagine if you became open-minded and tried to read it. I feel like you would have an epiphany. Like you would look at things differently. But people got to be able to go outside their own bubble now and again. You know?
Yep.
It's the only thing.
This will get me. I can't leave because my parents won't leave and my family and girl, but if you don't move on somewhere, like if we have the opportunity for that, how many people would actually take it or just make the excuse of case may be? You better force your parents out the house. Come on, all y'all, jump in the car, let's go.
Like
that is the opportunity to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
and
Like
thrive.
y'all been hearing me saying I want to leave this country. Then I always think about our ancestors that came to this country and built everything here. Like I feel like we're doing them a disservice with that because they built so much here.
Last year you didn't want to go. I just love reminiscing of this because like we have influenced each other so much. Last year you were like, it's everywhere. Racism and
Well, yeah, racism is everywhere. I mean, I don't
racism
know.
is everywhere. No matter where we go, it's gonna be the same. I would never leave the United States.
I wouldn't say I want to move. I want to, but then again, I wouldn't even know where.
Last year you were not for leaving the United States at all.
Yeah,
At all. Like at all.
I just feel like at this point we shouldn't be having them making us feel this way either.
Yeah.
I feel like we're giving them power. Just saying that, and I'm like, oh, fuck that shit. We need to take our shit.
Take our shit.
Take it all.
We need at least 30 of the 50 states. Okay? And the other 20, no. We need at least 25. No, let's give us 20. Give the natives 25, and then the white people could have the other 5.
Man, just try to write.
And we'll take all BIPOC.
Right.
All BIPOC people, and they can come live with us.
Yeah, like right their wrongs.
Right their wrongs.
You literally kicked people out off of their land just because they wouldn't
reform
or abide to your religion.
So yeah, nobody should have to conform to your fucking religion.
Right. So it's just like right your wrongs. And they don't want to do that. They're trying to cover up their wrongs. Yeah. I'm like, really? You really how can you cover this up? Like they're attempting to by banning books, defunding libraries and whatnot. And it's just like, man.
Yeah. Which I'm just glad that Zora included a lot of that history aspect.
Oh God, not you. With that big ass Nigerian I used to date. I don't even know where I would go to in Africa. Like,
don't they have amazing healthcare? I'm telling you, they are doctors over there. Okay.
I honestly don't know. And
a lot of people get their PhD. They go to other countries like the UK, get their PhDs, and come back.
Yeah, I'm just wondering how the welcoming would be. That's the thing.
Yeah, they definitely can be judgmental to lighter skins and Americans in general, but at the same time, we are ignorant.
So
we are ignorant compared to the people that were born and raised on the motherland. We have a lack of knowledge and understanding of what it is to be a true African. We're dumb. We literally call ourselves African Americans, and they don't even think about stuff like that. Well, they don't go around saying I'm black. They don't go around doing that. Like
maybe if we did move to Africa, the black community from the US went to Africa, which hopefully they don't feel like we're overstepping, but I feel we could contribute and help with that healthcare if we end up leaving this shithole, this ghetto, and going to Africa, because we do have black doctors here that are great. So just imagine if they moved to Africa. I feel like that would definitely impact the healthcare.
Yo, 30,000 of us just up and left. 30,000 would make just an amazing difference. That's just a piece.
Yeah.
That's nothing compared to the millions.
Right.
In the US.
Right. You're still developing and building. Yeah.
It's not the best. I don't expect that to be. But is it obtainable? Do they even have a lot of elements that we have? You know what I'm saying? Like
we have access to more things from what I'm aware of. I could be
more diseases. We also have more diseases.
Yeah, so I mean, if we went there, we probably would end up bringing something from here to there too. So I don't know. It'll be a big transition.
Getting out of the U.S. Remember that guy from last night? He said he left the U.S. and lost 80 pounds.
Yeah, that too. Healthcare needs a stable government in order to happen. Yeah, exactly. The government there is also in shambles, and that's only because of colonialism. That's the only reason why the governments are not stable, is because when you had King Leopold and everybody come up in there, they dismantled people and divided people up based off of the size of their noses and their complexion.
Yeah.
It was never like there was kingdoms or whatever, and of course there was wars or whatever amongst them.
Yeah.
But there was other places where they worked together. So I mean, I don't know.
We don't have a stable government, so I don't know. I'm picking my poison, and I'm gonna go the motherland route, and hope that the only thing that ever happens to me is that I break a leg.
Either way, Earth is going to be flowing. It's going to be gone with water. Like the Earth is already telling us it's not going. Some will happen. Just with climate.
Have you seen on the map and how Africa and maybe is it Brazil? Other continents could fit together, like they could connect like a puzzle piece, and how the water has solely separated the continents.
Yeah, it was together at one point.
Yeah.
But then you had the weather, you had the I forget what the term is called, but it would like the land within the core or whatever would drift and it eventually separated. It was one whole thing, but Earth, Mother Earth,
which is why I say everybody was black, and then when that started to happen, you know what I'm saying? Then they were like, let's hop over here and let's build this floaty thing and go over here. And the way the distance of the sun, I'm telling you. But we do have a lot of research to do with Cleopatra, hoodoo.
Yeah, so that'll be some discussion.
How far back does hoodoo go? And according to Zora, back to Moses, and it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody was black back then.
He was using hoodoo.
Who is the originator of hoodoo?
Yeah, I guess we'll have to figure it out.
Come back with answers, guys.
Yeah.
Let's look it up.
Great book. Can't wait to read more. We're reading Their Eyes Are Watching God this month. And I'm excited for it. And we're trying to just we want to watch the movie too, right?
Yes.
We have to figure it out how to do that.
It has to be a private link because otherwise they will.
We'll copy.
Yeah.
That part out.
So maybe a live stream and then dropping like a Zoom link or something.
Maybe a Zoom link.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. We'll have to figure it out.
Share the screen or start it and then make it private. Start the. No, but then it'll still be on the YouTube platform. So.
So I think we probably can't use the YouTube platform at all.
Yeah, it have to be Zoom.
But then we would need to. We have to figure it out. We'll have to figure it out. But
people could just report it on while it's on a live, and they'll shut it down.
Yeah. So I don't know how it will work.
No idea.
That would be nice to watch it, but I don't know. We'll have to.
It's a movie or episodes?
It's a movie. It's like maybe an hour or two long.
Yeah.
Zoom or Discord.
I don't have to. We would have to create a Discord account for Zora.
Yeah.
We could definitely do Zoom now. And then, of course, you don't have to be on camera.
Yeah.
Movie.
Their Eyes Are Watching God. So for this month, we're reading Their Eyes Are Watching God. And then we wanted to watch the movie to go with it. Since there's a movie for that one. Yeah, that book.
You have 2 of these, right? You have 2 of these?
I think I just have one.
Oh, I thought you had the hard copy from last year.
I just have one copy. Yeah,
But yeah, we're gonna figure that out, and we'll schedule that
yeah.
for next month.
But thank y'all for this discussion. It was fun.
Should we watch the movie first and then have the live discussion? That way we can talk about both.
I guess. But then again, when they give everything away in the book, maybe.
They would have already read it.
True. I guess it doesn't matter.
Because if we did it on a Thursday night or a Friday, no, not sure Friday, not just sprinting nights, but if we did on a Thursday night, we had that live discussion on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, you would have already read it.
Yeah. So we'll always do that. We'll figure it out. Or we could either do Zoom or we could create it. Just I don't know. We'll figure
You can read a Discord if
it
you
out.
want that.
Yeah, we could. We could. So that we have everybody in there, and then that way everybody gets the link and all that stuff. So we could do that. But I think this is it. We are done. I'm about to take a nap before I go to work. But thank you all for joining us. Thank you all for this discussion. We got research to do now with Cleopatra if she's actually black or not, and more information on hoodoo and how did hoodoo even come into play. Thank you all once again. Have a great day. We'll catch y'all later. Bye everyone.